were there last week. I apologize. I forgot to hit the record button last week, so I will get that re-uploaded and fixed for you guys that were looking for that video last night. But just want to thank you for taking your time tonight and to get in the class. And tonight we'll be going over chaining tips and tricks inside SolidCAM. And what I'll do here is, if you guys have any ideas at all for classes that you guys would like to see, definitely shoot me an email, and I will put my email address into the GoToMeeting chat section, and that's going to be towards the bottom of your guys' GoToMeeting control panel. And I will also put the link to my YouTube channel, which will have the class on there real shortly once we're done with the recording here. So with that being said, just want to say thanks again for taking the time out of your night. And I know some of you guys, it's a little bit late. Some of it's still midday. I think for Paul Wick, it's pretty much his bedtime, but we'll keep him awake tonight.
Yeah, right, Kev. Come on now.
You know how you older guys are. No, I'm kidding. All right.
I see how you are.
We'll get rolling here. So first things first, kind of like what to do with the classes, is kind of go over the settings first on what we're pertaining with. So what you can do is go to your SolidCAM and go to your SolidCAM settings. And if you go down to the geometry button, this is where all your chaining parameters come up. Now, for those of you that are a little bit new, and even some of these advanced guys in here, this little question mark is going to be a really popular button. It really helps out a lot. It's listed in almost all of our menus, and you can actually just click the question mark, and if you're not sure on what something is, you can just click on it and it will show you. So pertaining to our SolidCAM settings, the gap minimum and gap maximum is basically the tolerances are kind of goes over right here. So the most that, we'll get it so we can get the side by side here. The most what we'll do is, a spline approximation. The default settings are good. Honestly, myself, I don't really change them ever off of what the default settings are. But if you do find something that you would like to see different, here's where you can change the default values. So you got your gap minimum and gap maximum, and that's going to be the minimum gap that it will try to close when you have a open geometry or contour, and the maximum it's going to be is 40 thou. And I'll kind of go over what these are real shortly here. And then your constant Z tolerance. This is when you guys hit the auto constant Z button, and if it goes up or down within 5 millionths right here, it will actually connect it all around, but you guys can change that tolerance too. So, but definitely if you guys have any questions inside SolidCAM, definitely use the question mark, and this is actually located on your C drive too. So if I shut this down here and open up my C drive, and I'll just browse to it for you guys real quick, and we'll go to Program Files, your SolidCAM, and your Documentation button right here. These three are, or these four are going to cover everything inside SolidCAM. So if you click on the milling and you just type in, what you're looking for and do a search, it will actually pop it up for you right here. So it's a real helpful solution to, if you guys are programming and have any questions. So with that being said, we'll get into the chaining. So I got a part here, I think that will kind of represent, as much chaining as we possibly can do inside a SolidCAM. So first things first, we'll just start off with the easier stuff, and then as we get through the presentation, we'll get into the harder and harder stuff. So now, it doesn't really matter if you guys are picking, 2D iMachining, profile, contour, pocketing. The actual chaining side of things are all basically going to look the same. The only difference between what's down here and the iMachining is when you grab your iMachining, you'll see the levels inside of the geometry. I'll show you here. So you'll see you can actually pick your upper level right here and your lower level. Now, if you guys are doing just standard profile, whatnot, you might have already noticed, but where you pick your chain is actually going to be the default number of your depth or your Z depth on there. So that's kind of nice feature that we've added in there in like 2014. So only thing different with iMachine is you actually have the levels right here for you. Now, in our chaining list, we have a blank, we have nothing picked right now. Now, as I grab this chain, now if I click over here, the direction will go that way. Now, if I do the opposite side, the chain will actually go that way. Now, with iMachine, chaining direction does not matter for you guys at all. But if you guys are doing profile, instead of picking it, hitting the flip button over here, it's a little bit easier when you just pick one side, so you kind of know what's going on there. So, once you start a new chain operation, it's automatically going to default to curve. And curve is probably what you guys will use 95% of the time. Real nice, easy to use. You can just click anywhere and it will grab the chain. So, and it doesn't matter if you guys are going up, down, you can, just click anywhere you want. The levels do not matter inside SolidCAM because the levels are all based off of the actual levels inside your operation levels. So up, down, left, right, doesn't matter if you have to go around objects. Curve is a great feature to use in there. So now when we do curved with closed corners, let me get out of iMachining here and we'll actually just do a regular profile here. Okay, so curve with closed corners, that's if we actually have some missing geometry. Let's just say if we have a line here and a line here, but our arc in there is actually missing. For this particular one, I'm going to have to increase my gap minimum or in gap maximum just because it's such a large arc right there. So I'll just put this at 1 inch for right now. And if I click on curve with closed corners, I can actually click there and I can come over here and grab the chain, and what it will do is it'll create a theoretical, basically square corner right there. And that works good if you actually are missing geometry. And there are other ways around it. What you can do is do point to point, which we'll go over shortly here. But the curve with closed corners does work really nice if you are missing some geometry inside there for you. So that's about it for there. And like I was telling you guys in the settings here, you have your gap minimum, your spline approximation, and maximum. What we went over in the settings is what are these numbers going to be at default. So, and you guys can change these for each particular chain that you want to do too. So now what we'll do is we'll click on loop. Now inside loop, basically it's just looking for an edge. So if we just click on an edge, you'll see we get a nice yellow chain around the outside perimeter, but then we also get a blue chain in there. And it's asking you which one do you want to continue all the way through. Do we want to click on the blue or do we want to continue with the yellow? So if I just click anywhere on the yellow, it will automatically grab that chain and wrap it around for me, which works out very nice for quick chaining. A lot of you guys like to do the curve and then click on auto constant Z. So this will save you just a little bit of a one step there by doing the loop feature. Now let me just delete that one out here. Now if you do the loop and if I was to click on the blue, you'll see that it puts the chain that way. So you do get the two different options there, and if there are more options, they will show up as blue also. But default will be yellow, and that's going to be the default one that it thinks it should take, but you just have to tell it which way it wants to go. I'm going to get that one out of here. Now we'll do point to point. Let me just grab over here. So let's say we want to basically kind of close off this chain right here. So what we can do is we can come over here, do our curve, and click around here. Now, I mean, this pertains to any geometry that you guys have, but let's say we want to kind of close that off. Now, instead of drawing a sketch in there and picking that sketch, what we can do is we can come over here and click on point to point. And it's basically asking you where do you want it to end. So I can just click right here and it will automatically put that line in there. You know, you guys can use point to point for a lot of stuff. You can just come over here. You know, we can do a diagonal up and diagonal bottom here. Oh, I got off of point to point. So we can do a diagonal up, and we can just do pick an endpoint right here, and that's another way of picking some geometry. So if you guys have some missing features in there or something that you just can't chain around, use the point to point feature to fill the blank in, basically. Now we'll go over point to point. There are some little bit of just one downfall of using point to point, but I'll show you that real shortly here once we get into the open pocket section. Now, if you guys are trying to do an arc and maybe you have a spline, it's not picking up the arc of that radius. So all you have to do is you can click on arc by points, click on the start of the arc, try to get right around the middle section, and then click on the end, and it will actually do a nice arc in there for you and fill in the missing geometry that you guys have, or if you're just trying to do it's a bad spline there from a drawing or whatnot, this really helps fill in the missing geometry for you. So, forgot to ask, can everybody see my screen? Does someone want to type in the questions pane if they can see it? I know you can.
No, I'm seeing it, Kevin.
Yeah. Yep. So I want to make sure I don't keep continuing on here and people are,
Yep.
Okay, yep.
All right, we got yeses.
Yep. Okay, good deal.
Yep.
We're good. Yep. Okay, thanks guys for doing that. Okay, so now what we can do is, let me get this chain out of here. Now we'll get into a little bit of the funner stuff here. So now when we're grabbing our chain, obviously instead of clicking all the way around, it's going to be much easier to do an auto feature. So we have the auto 2, auto general, auto constant Z, and the curve propagation. Auto general is basically used for the turning and mill turn. That's where it's going to work the best, and towards the very end of the presentation I'll go over the auto general in a turning operation, but I think last time everybody wanted to do milling first, so we'll go ahead with milling. So we'll go over that real shortly here. Auto constant Z is basically going to continue that chain on that same Z level. So if I click on auto constant Z, you'll see that automatically wraps my chain around for me. And I can do that for all these over here, and just click auto constant Z and it'll wrap it around. So real nice feature in there. Using that auto constant Z, that's probably my most used one. I know the loop kind of does the same thing, but I guess it's hard to teach old dog new tricks, so I just kind of got stuck on the way of the auto constant Z. Now the curve propagation works really good on more of the 3D surfaces. So if you guys are trying to go up a 3D surface grabbing the chain, the curve propagation will pick up really good for that. So if I come over here, do the curve propagation, that will do basically the auto constant Z for you, but like on a 3D surface, it will actually climb up the wall, so it's not staying on that constant Z level for you. So for those of you guys that do more of the surfacing work, as you guys are going up and down, and you have those weird surfaces that you need to click that are 3D modeled, that's where the curve propagation is going to come really handy for you guys. Now in 2016, the curve propagation is going to be defaulted on for you. There's a spot in the settings that you can turn that off. If any of you guys are interested in doing we're getting ready to release SP1, so if anybody is interested in 2016, please just shoot me an email, and like I said, my email is in the GoToMeeting chat, and we'll get you set up with that. So, all right. On the curve propagation also, you have a couple of features here. You can check or uncheck the tangent, delta Z. You can put a delta Z tolerance in there, so it will go up over between plus or minus area. So it works real good with that. And like I said, the curve propagation works excellent with 2D and also works great with 3D. And it's basically the same thing as if it gets confused, it's going to show you a blue line. And it's going to ask you, basically, you just click which line it's supposed to go to next, and then it will wrap up that geometry for you. Another great way to doing chaining is the multi-chain. Now, the multi-chain works as basically just clicking on a surface. So if I just want to chain this, I can just click on here and hit the green checkbox, and it's going to chain everything on that edge right there. Basically, if I do, let's see, we'll do multi-chain here. Now, you have a couple different options here. So you have edge, text, and face. If I want to do a chain on this entire face up here, I can just click on that face, hit the green check mark, and it will throw 2 chains on there for me. So that also eliminates a few steps for you guys. Instead of clicking right here, clicking auto constant Z, and then making another chain, clicking here, and doing auto constant Z again too, or the curve propagation. So a real nice feature in there. Now, if you guys are doing some engraving or numbering, I have some text right here. So if you click on the multi-chain again, and we'll use text now, you'll see that my cursor, how it turned to an A symbol. If I get off of it, it goes right back to the SolidWorks box symbol. So it's telling me that that is text. So if I just click anywhere in there, when that's highlighted with the text icon, you can just click and it will grab all those chains for you. The green check mark, and it will build all those chains right there. Real nice feature, and if those of you guys are wondering about engraving, the best font to use inside SolidWorks is called DPS Schrift. It does a perfect single line font, shows really nice, looks really nice on the part. So that is another way of doing some chaining in there. And you'll see over here that it's actually labeled as a T for text and then with the curve in there. Now you guys can, depending on your spline approximation, if you make that number real small, it will do a bunch of little itty-bitty chains in there, which doesn't always look the best. So kind of like I said before, leave those at the default value, and they should just do one line like it is right here. So now one other way of doing, of doing text now is a little bit farther down in our list. You'll see it says text right here. This works good for if you guys don't want to do any sketching on the model at all, or if you are running InventorCAM where you can't really, it's hard to do text on there. You can click this button and it's asking for a reference point. Now this is where do you want that, basically the text to be. So I can just click there and hit my resume button.
Kevin,
yep.
Quick question for you. Just the name of the font, for text, that the best one you said was it
DPS Schrift, and I can show that to you. It is, if I do a sketch here, click on letter and oops, D, this one right here. DPS Schrift Single, sorry. And that is going to be the best for the single line font for engraving part numbers, job numbers, all that good stuff in there. All right, well, thank you. You bet. Now, if you don't have the option, like I said, with InventorCAM or Inventor, you can add the text box down here. We'll pick our reference point, go right there, and right here, hit the edit button, and what it will do is open up a text. So you can click on the text right here and just click on a box, and we can just do SolidCAM, and you can change the size, the font, how big you want it to be, all right here. So, pretty easy to use. Hit the green check mark, and it will throw it in there for you. So that's if you guys aren't using, if you guys don't want to use the SolidCAM sketch or what, or if you're using Autodesk Inventor, it's a great way to use the text feature right there. Can DPS shrift be set as default? I think it can, Joe. Not 100% sure, but it's a great question for a SolidWorks reseller, or if we get sold you to SolidWorks, Joe, we can answer that for you, or I can look into that for you. So now let's get into open pockets. A lot of you guys are doing pockets, and a lot of confusion on how to do pockets. So let's just open up a iMachining operation here. And this works with any pocketing operation or iMachining. You cannot do mark open edges with profile. So just kind of remember that. So now if we want to do this island right here, and we basically want to machine everything off up to this hub right here. So what we want to do is come over here, and we want to chain the outside first. We'll just do an auto constant Z. And then we want to come and chain the inside. And this is going to be kind of treated as an island. And we want to tell it to machine up to the island. But the way we have it set up right now is it's basically going to machine anything between the two lines. So we want it to tell it to go past that line. So all we have to do is just right-click on that chain and mark chain as open, and you'll see it turns to black, and it will do is it'll approach from the outside and come up to here. So let me just grab a tool for you guys. Half-inch end mill here. And now you'll see that the toolpath starts on the outside, works on the corners, and then works its way all the way up to the center. So that's real important to make sure you have that open edge. So now, and the same applies. You can do this for as many as you want. So if you guys had, this one right here, and we want to chain auto constant Z and have two islands. And you'll see that it goes past. Oh, you know what? Okay, so it didn't go past on there. That's my fault because I didn't mark that open edge. So what I'll do in here is just right-click, mark that chain as open. Come on, Paul, you didn't catch that?
The question?
No.
I was waiting for you to pause, Kevin. You got to pause once in a while.
Okay,
yeah, Ken had a question. The DPS shrift font is not in Inventor. Do you have any thoughts on that one, Kevin?
Yeah, so for those you guys, Ken Johnson, I know we worked with engraving. With that one, you want to use the single font inside there, and there is a couple of them in that text field that will work real good for that. But there's one that's labeled single. And I can't remember the first few letters of it, but it is labeled single, and that's going to be the one that you'll want to pick for the that will basically replace the DPS shrift. And let's see, why does the first toolpath not hit the material? J Hall, I'm not sure what you mean by why doesn't it hit the material. Okay, and James Self, yes, I'll the link for the class is on the YouTube channel, which is in the GoToMeeting chat. What I can do is copy this out for you here. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to keep up with questions. Let's see, do that and paste that. There is the link, James, for the YouTube video. Where do they all be? All right, so we'll
And
keep
James, this is Paul Wick. You can also ping me and I can send it to you in the morning or something if you'd like.
So you'll see that it starts on the outside and works its way in. Now you'll see when I forgot to do that, it won't go past that boundary. So now if we start with, if we have a semi-open pocket, basically going to be the same thing, but we're not going to mark the whole chain as open. So we'll grab our geometry here, do our auto constant Z. So now what I want to do is I just want to mark a certain portion of my chain as open. So what you guys can do is come over here, instead of doing the mark open edges, what we can do is we can mark mark open edges here instead of mark chain as open. So what that will do is it'll pop up a dialog box. Do I want to make it a open chain? Do I want to make it a wall, or toggle it back and forth? And I'll get into this, the single entity and from to entity, real shortly when we get to the point to point. But what you want to do is click open and basically just click, what surfaces or what edges are actually open. And I just want to make sure I got all those, and it will actually turn black like it does before. Grab my depth here. Oh, depth is good. Hit the green check mark, and we'll do save and calculate. And you'll see it starts from the outside here, working its way in. So it's telling that when I do that open edge, is basically kind of telling that the end mill can start from that boundary and work its way in. Now this works really good if you guys have a part, and let's say our stock is much larger and we want to machine up to that stock or up to the SolidWorks model. So what you guys will do is grab that chain from your stock and then grab the chain right around the outside edge here and mark that stock as open, and it's going to machine everything up to that island, is basically kind of how we treat that. So what we'll do here is we'll do the point to point. So if we come over here, let's just do curve. Grab that last one here. Now, let's say you don't have any geometry there. What we can do is do the point to point, like I said before, and close it off that way. Now, one thing with the point to point is the mark open edges. So I cannot just come and click on it because it can't see it on the model. But what I can do is I can mark everything as open and close these edges over here, turn that into a wall, or I can do a from to entity, and I can say from this point to this point over here, I want open, and you'll see it actually turns it almost like a yellow-green color here. So that is kind of the tip or trick with the point-to-point is, and a lot of you guys have used the point-to-point, but when you try to do the open, it's a little bit of a pain. But if you just do the from to entity, it will mark anything from that click point to that next click point as open for you. And that works with anything, if you guys are doing, regular curve, point-to-point, curve propagation, all that stuff, it will do that open that way too, so that way you don't have to click all the way through. So let's get rid of that one here, and I can actually, well, here, let's show you what it looks like here. So like I said before, it starts on the outside and works its way in, doing the D-slot tricoidal. Obviously, I just machined off my hub here because I forgot to chain that one, but you guys kind of get the point of what's going on there. Now, if you guys are chaining like with multiple open edges and stuff, what you can do is, do the same as before. Do the outside, work your way in here. We'll go to that other hub right here. And then what we'll do is we'll mark open edges for that chain, and we'll just say the from to selection. So from that point to point over here, I want open. And from that point to that point, I want open. And it's going to treat it as two open sides with two islands. So real nice feature for you guys. And I know chaining gets to be a little bit confusing on, doing pockets, but that's why I try to do as many different strategies for you guys. So we have two open sides right here with two center islands and two walls. So try to be as easy as possible. When you guys are picking this, instead of grabbing this geometry here, like I said before, you can come down to the multi-chain and just click on there, and it will grab all those chains for you too. So another easy way of doing it, and it labels the chain 1, chain 2 for you also. So you can just come in here and mark your open edges that way. Now, let's show if you guys don't have geometry. So one of the greatest things that you guys are using with SolidCAM is inside SolidCAM, we can utilize SolidWorks. So if you guys have some missing geometry and the point-to-point isn't, what you're going for, simply right-click, do a sketch. You guys can do the convert entities, anything like that. We can add, in here, let's just say we needed to mill a little L shape in there. Just hit the rebuild button, come in here, add your profile, and you can click right on that chain in here and use that as geometry. That's going to be huge for you guys. We know how the engineers, sometimes they're thinking in the engineering world and not the machining world, so they kind of forget about certain things that we need to make our toolpath easier or look nicer. So you guys can definitely use your SolidWorks to your advantage and draw those sketches on there if you're missing any geometry at all, so you can get what you're trying to achieve right there. So it's a real nice feature inside there, and you guys can click and modify that. Now, for those that might be new with SolidCAM, any sketches that you create on this model do not reflect back to the original. This is a copy of the original, kind of comply with the ISO 9000 standards. So any changes you make here will not reflect back to the original. But like I said, if the engineer does make a change to it or the original model did get changed, the SolidCAM will update with that. So, do we have any questions so far? Of anybody that can think of anything? Okay, I see we got a couple on here. Radu. Okay, how do you chain with arc by points? Okay, we did go over that earlier here, Radu, but we'll definitely show you that again. So the arc, arc by points is basically clicking on an arc. So you click on the start point of that arc, you click on the midpoint of that arc, and then you click on the end point, and then it will grab that chain for you. And then you can go back to curve, click your geometry, and do your auto constant Z if you were missing that geometry right there. Can I change colors of chain one text? You know what, Jeff? I've never. Let's try that. Let's do a profile on this one here. So instead of being purple, you would want green or something like that, I guess. Jeff, is that what you're asking? It's small and hard for me to see. You said yellow on white, I think. Okay. I will have to look into that, Jeff. I'm not sure. Our default colors are going to be in our, let me get out of here and go to Tools, SolidCAM, Settings. And if you go down to your colors, chaining on 3D model, so it is going to show up as pink right here. You can actually change that color. You can see all the different chaining colors right here. So you, definitely, Jeff, come in here, click on whatever color you want, or you can do a custom color right here, and they'll be a little bit easier for you to see. Hopefully that answers your question there. If not, definitely let me know, Jeff. All right, ready? Okay, got it. Thanks. Paul, Jeff must be a little bit older too. He has to get reading glasses on like you. I'm just kidding, yeah. All right, Ronnie Kidder. Does it matter if the geometry is created on the CAM or the design model? No, Ronnie, it does not matter where it is created. When I create those sketches, like that little L sketch, if I come over to my SolidWorks, you just see it just added it to actually below as like an assembly sketch. So it's not reflecting back to anything in here. But if you wanted to, you can edit this model and you know, draw the sketch that way too. But just to save time, you know, you're already in your SolidCAM here, your program, and you can just right-click, do the sketch, and do your sketching that you're looking for right there. And let's see where we're at.
I think, Kevin, for drawing geometry, you just need to choose a surface, question mark, from Redo.
Yeah, so to do a sketch on there, just right-click anywhere that you want to sketch. So if I want to sketch up here, just right-click and click the sketch button right here. And then that will pop up your sketch icons, and you can draw, you know, squares, whatever you need to in there. You know, get the geometry that you're looking for that way. So just right-click anywhere where you want, and just hit sketch. So, and it will actually pick up the right plane, because right now we are actually working on the top plane, but if you're looking for the right plane, you know, instead of clicking on right plane, doing sketch that way, you can just rotate your part over here, just right click and do your sketch that way, and it will pick up the correct plane for you. And okay, and Jeff, yep, Inventor CAM should have the exact same color scheme as what inside your SolidCAM settings. So in Inventor, what you want to do is click on the tab, and you'll actually have to right click on the model and do the edit model that way to create that in there. So all right, can you reuse the chains in additional operations? Absolutely, great question, Rob. I totally forgot about that. Inside here, if I do a add, let's do a profile, I can click right here, and these are all the chains that I've created. Now, instead of clicking on each one, doing a show and showing me, you know, what I actually picked right there, the best way to do it is come over here and you hit this little looks like a browse button, and it'll actually pull up a list, and you can just come over here and click on the one that you're actually looking for. So definitely you can reuse all your geometries before, so they can they're not gone once you pick into that operation, so they'll be there forever. The only way that they will get cleared out is if you guys come up to the CAM part and do a cleanup CAM part and remove geometry or unused geometries and stuff like that. So even a geometry that you clicked on but you did not use, it does save it in there, and it will keep it in there forever unless, like I said, you do the cleanup CAM part. So, all right. Okay. Now, let me get back into profile here. And what we're going to do is we'll just chain that guy right there. Green checkbox, good. Grab that same tool. Now, let's say, you know, we're missing geometry once again, and we just want to extend it out. Instead of drawing a sketch in there, instead of doing point to point, we want to expand it out. So inside the technology section, there is going to be the modify option. This is going to change it from left to center to right. Also, if you click the actual geometry button right here, you can actually see your tool with your tool path. So like right now, I got my chain going the wrong way because you can see my end mill is on the wrong side. So I can actually reverse this right here, so you'll see my end mill pop out. But now I can add an extension on there of, you know, I'll do 0 there and do, you know, 5 inches out, or, you know, 15 to accommodate what you guys have right there. So definitely use that to your advantage to expand your geometry out here. And, you know, if you guys are just trying to, you know, get past a little bit and you just want to do the, you know, like you got the radius here, but you got a sharp corner, you know, do a little bit over half your end mill to expand it out. And it does show a representation of your end mill right there, so you can kind of see where it's going to be starting onto the material. And we can come over here and show where it's going to be going off. And let's do 25. Oh, that's a little much. So that's a great way to also modify your geometry inside there, which is a real nice feature to use. Now, if I wanted to just do a down the center of a slot, so let's do another scenario here. And let's say I had a face mill and I just kind of want to go down the center, or a large end mill, and I just want to go down the center there. And I didn't want to create a sketch on there. You can hit the green check box, just pick the one side, come to your technology, click the geometry button. Now over here is the modify offset, and you can offset that chain over. Or you can click the little checkbox, take from half of selected offset, and I can just click on the opposite side, and it will throw the chain in the center for us. So you'll see now that our chain is right in the center. It took half the offset there and moved it over. So another nice feature. And, you know, if we need to expand that out, you know, 0.3 to accommodate the half-inch end mill, 0.3, and you'll see, did that expand out here? Yeah, there it goes. So 0.5, 0.5. So now that our end mill is not coming down on the material, it's coming on the outside. And actually, if we just do 0.6, it'll be a little bit better. So you get a little bit of a wiggle space there. Now you can also add extensions on in your link section of your geometry too. So definitely you can pick and choose where you want to go. So now I want to run through another scenario here. And let's just grab this pocket up here. We'll do our auto.
Kev, do you want to answer a few of these questions at all? Stop and
sure. Yeah, let's answer some questions.
Okay.
Can you do?
I cleaned out the ones I thought we answered. So.
Can you extract geometry from a known Z level? In a different software, there is a slider where you can set your Z and extracts the geometry that intersects all that Z levels. Can you, from unknown Z level, SolidWorks has the slider. Not sure what you quite mean there, Radu. Let's see. Let's do add a profile here. And so if we chain down here, kind of come up here, go around and do the auto constant Z. Then we can come back through and chain that. I'm not sure if that's what you're looking for. Basically, the Z does not have to be all on the same level. So if we are coming up at a a 3D sketch here and coming up as an arc. All we have to do is click that arc line right there and then click the curve propagation, and it's going to find it for you. And you can set up a tolerance down here. So that's more of a 3D, and that's going to be your curve propagation that you'll want to click on for that. So I think that's what you're looking for, but if not, please let me know, and we can definitely address that too.
Kevin, a question from Pat Mahoney. Do all the operations use chaining?
Yes.
I don't know if that kind of answers.
Well, no, I shouldn't say that. Some of the operations go off of faces, so it's only if you're working on selected faces, it's only going to all you have to do is click on the face. So like your 3D milling, HSS, some of your HSM is not going to be based off of chaining. More of your 2D stuff, the 2D eye machining, profile, the face mill option does have an option to do a face or edges, and that's kind of based off of the multi-chain method down here. So you can do face or edges that way. And did that get everybody? Are we up? Got up here?
Does it matter if the geometry is created on the CAM or design model? Did you answer that?
Yep, we answered that one already. So, yep, does not matter. You can go on either one, Ronnie. All right, so now what I want to do is, let's say you want your end mill to start at a specific area on your geometry. Now, that's going to be in your modified geometry, and you'll see, once I grab an end mill here, go to technology, you'll see my end mill is going to start right there in the corner, but let's say I need it to start somewhere other than that spot. So you can come over here, do the shift position. So you can do shift right here by 25%, or you can leave it alone at 0 and do by pick chain. So if I had an exact point I want to start off, I can just click, and anywhere I click is where the end mill is going to start. So I know there are certain scenarios you want the end mill to start in a certain area and not in the corner. Definitely use that to your advantage there. Now there is a default in your SolidCAM settings, so it always shifts at 25% too. It is shut off, but you can set it up so it's always 25% over. Now if you guys want, you guys can actually type a number in there too, and it will shift it over. If we do 25, it will move it over the 25 for you, or you can do 25% off the first edge. So definitely use that to your advantage. Now if you guys have 15 different chains in here and you want to do it for all of them, click the apply to all. But let's say you have maybe chain 1, we only want to do a start position, or do an extension, or modify or anything like that. All you have to do is just highlight what you want to do, and then you can make the changes to that. So let's get into a example where I can show you guys that. So we'll chain that one right there, and we will chain this one right here. So now if we come to our modified geometry, let's say my chain 1, I want it extended out 1 inch each way. We'll go drastic so you guys can see. And chain 2, I just want to leave it at 0, or extend it out 0.3 and 0.3. So like I said, just be on the chain that you want to be on, and it will just modify that particular one. Or you can do the apply all, and it will apply all the changes to every single one of the chains in your list right here. And right here too, if you guys get in here, you see your end mill. Like my chain 1, I can definitely see I have my chain going the wrong direction. Come in here and just do a reverse, or hit F5 on your keyboard. A little bit of the shortcut keys there. So that is about all I can think of. Does anybody have any questions? I think we're still good there. For those of you that made it through all the way, or that are new, with the KevCAM night class, we do have the Tell a Friend program, and what this Tell a Friend is, it's normally the $50, and as soon as my PDF actually opens up here it is. Instead of $50, it's going to be $100 as long as you tell them that you were in the KevCAM class, and they will double that. No strings attached, gift card for you guys, and just tell a friend, you know, and they get into a demo, and they get to have, you know, or you get to have $100. Now, if they end up purchasing software, you get 20% of that total purchase. So I definitely want to mention that too. Oh, great, Jeff, totally forgot about lathe part with that Auto General. So let's close this one. I think I have a turning part here. Yes. Okay. So with the Auto 2 feature inside of turning, so what we'll do is, let me just delete whatever I have here. Come in here, add a turning. Now, you're going to click where you want it to start, and all, what do we have here? Click where you want to start. Now just click the Auto 2 Auto General and just click where you want it to end off at. So if I want it to end, you know, at this point or right on that line, I can just click there and it will automatically follow that geometry for you. So the Auto 2, like I said, is more meant for the turning module, but you know, you can use it in some of the features inside the 2D milling. It's just not really meant for it. So if you guys are doing more of the turning, it draws that envelope line for you guys, and if you guys just want to follow that all the way through, definitely, you know, use that Auto 2 feature in there. So, no lathes. Sign off. All right.
Just kidding, just signing off.
Yep. Anybody else have any questions? Now's the time to pick on the tech guy, or we can pick on the account manager too if we want. But
I think he's been picked on enough. I'm not used to this Webinar USA software. It seemed like questions were coming in all over the place, so I apologize, guys, if I was missing some there.
No, and like I said, guys, if you guys have something that you want to see, definitely please email me. I do have an agenda set up for all the way through August right now, but past August, I do not have anything set up quite yet. So if you guys want to see something, let me know. If you guys are unhappy with what you're seeing, let me know. If you're happy with what you're seeing, let me know, because we're going to try to do whatever we can do to make this beneficial for you guys, and you know, get the most out of your learning here.
You have a new question there. What are your font? What font would you use for embossed letters?
Anything bold. Bold is, you know, square, easy to use, but you know, basically any font will work with embossed, but some of the fonts, they get into the really tight little areas, so you're going to be having to come in there with a really itty-bitty end mills, Pat. So the best way to do is kind of a bolder font, nothing real crazy, but if you need to get crazy, definitely, you know, pick the font that looks the best. You'll just have to come back and use the rest material feature and come back with little itty-bitty end mills just to clean up those areas for you. So let's see. Can you show going to G-code for Haas 3-axis, saved a thumb drive, then plug it in the machine? Show.
I think Jeff asked, can we chain a lathe part first?
Yeah, that's the one that we just went over here.
Oh, okay. All right.
Can you show going to G-code for Haas 3-axis that I'd save on a thumb drive, then plug it? Okay, so I think I know what you're talking about, Ben, but let me just make sure here. Let me get out of, well, I guess we can do this one. Let's unsuppress this. And now you guys can come in here, do G-code generate or in the operation. Hit OK. Now, it will automatically pull up, this one I got in, looks like the, let me get in, I'll post that, close this here. Tools, SolidCAM, and go to Recent. Okay, so this is actually a Haas post here. So from right here, you can do a Save As. Now, inside your guys' SolidCAM settings, let me get back to my SolidCAM here. If you go to your Tools, SolidCAM settings, and click on the G code, you have a couple different options right here. You can do it. So right now, if I was to click Save on this G code, it's going to just save it to a temporary folder. So a lot of people will just do the Save As, save it off to their thumb drive, and you come down to here to your storage drive, bring it right to your machine, you're good to go. Now if you want it set up as a default to always go to your thumb drive, you can come in here and create in the directory, and you can actually browse to where that is. So hopefully that kind of answers your question there, Ben. On Notepad, SolidCAM come with a better.
I wanted to quick show that you can. There, you've just got one. You've got one toolpath, but you can create your G code from that toolpath,
yep,
or from the operations, which
yep,
would create the.
Yep. Inside here, you can click the G code right here, and it will also open up your. It will open up here. Now, I did see someone say something about G code. Timothy, yes, Notepad is the default. We were working to get a partner to, so it'll be a NC editor, so you'll have backplot, all that stuff in there. They're still kind of working on that, but right now I'm actually using Simco Edit, or you can use NC Edit. It just kind of shows you what's going on here. I can click and it's telling me it's a linear line movement in G01. You can do backplot features of that operation. So, but like you said, it will pop up in Notepad, and that setting is actually, I had that open here, Tools, SolidCAM, Settings, and G code, and you'll see that I have it defaulted to a Simco Edit executable, and you guys will actually show Notepad right here. I hit OK, and we'll just do a G code. So this is what you guys are normally used to seeing here, and you can, like I said, you can do a file save as and save it off to that thumb drive, stick it in the machine, and good to go. And all right, so what else do we have here? Toolpath in the matter process. No. So let me just do something here because we're on the G code. Let me just do copy and paste. Let's get a bunch in here. We'll just do calculate all.
I think what Ben was asking is you just do it on either a part or a just a particular toolpath, Kevin. I think you answered his question.
Okay. But. Simco free? No, it's really cheap, Radu, but it's not free. I don't know what the actual price is, but if you just go online,
we can sell NC Edit if you'd like to use NC Edit, and I think that's $150 for a seat.
Okay. So kind of going off with Ben here, you can just highlight the certain ones that you want to G code out, and just by hitting the Control key or hitting the Shift key, and then do a right click and do G code that way, generate, and that way it will pop open all the G codes that were highlighted there for you. And like I said, then you can come in here, do a save as, and bring it down to your storage or your USB. So.
And you can. I know Ben's fairly new to the software, Kevin, so you can actually just click on the operations button there and get the entire program, correct?
Yeah. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah. Make it a little more clear. Yeah, if you want to do everything, just right-click up on the top operation and do G code all. And you can do generate. You can do generate per operation, generate with time. You can print it out, do it in a list. So a lot of different options here for your generating G code. If you guys have stuff that is actually out of sync, and what I mean by out of sync is it'll show a little asterisk mark right here, and you want a G code, you can just do a calculate and G code all, and that will synchronize everything, get it all in line, and then G code it out for you.
So. Yeah, Timothy I think the 150 is just a one-time fee for it. But then if they come out with new versions in the future, they may charge a little bit more for it to get an upgrade to a newer version. But there's no maintenance on that that I'm aware of.
Yes. Radu, the question is, can you also suppress G-code for any operation to not post out? So if you guys just want to see it run through in simulation and you don't want to actually get the G-code for that operation, so if you guys are machining off like a, let's say you guys just did a profile and you had a big chunk, a big spud still sitting there, but you don't want it to see it there in Solid Verify, so you just create an operation just to get rid of that spud. All you have to do is right-click and do suppress G-code. And that will suppress the G-code for that operation right there. So it won't actually produce G-code for that particular one. Got it. Thanks. Which posts would you use for Haas 3-axis? The Haas 3-axis one is, my favorite one is this one. It's the G-milling Haas 3-axis. It's the one that we use on a lot of our Haas machines. But Ben, every machinist is different, so if you like to see G-code a certain way or you want to see it changed around to your way, we can definitely switch it around for you and get that post tweaked in, so because we want to make you feel comfortable at the machine seeing the G-code, and if you're not comfortable seeing that correct G-code in there, we would definitely want to get that switched around for you. So, and you know, Ben, also, I mean, in here, I know there's quite a few. On our website too, they also have post processors, and I'm not sure, it's something new that they just started doing here. And we'll go here, and you guys can actually go to our SolidCAM website and actually grab these post processors. So under subscription, grab the post processors, and let's see, where did they put those, Paul?
Just 1 second here. Kevin, can you back up? Go to the top. Under subscription. Should be there.
They just added this to the website, so maybe it's not up to snuff. Oh, let me try logging in here.
Yeah, I think, yeah. I think a lot of times it's like you got to have your browser or something updated once in a while. It pops in for me. Sometimes it doesn't. So
yeah, it looks like it's, I just need to update it here. So if you guys go right here, you should see a whole list of post processors, and then you can grab from your machine. How do I change the subroutine from number 1 to number 2? That's going to be in your SolidWorks right here, and subroutine. Depends on the post processor. A lot of times this will be grayed out, but if you are trying to change it from 2 to 1 Radu, just let Eric know, and Eric will get that changed so your subroutine can be 1 right here, because a lot of these will be grayed out, but it all depends on the post processor. So, any other questions that are coming in here? See, people are starting to drop off a little bit here, but like I said, definitely do the tell a friend. You know, easy money there. You got a buddy down the street or buddy at the bar, and like I said, all you have to do is give them their name and number, and we will take it from there. So, like I said, no strings attached. Easy as can be. So. Looks like I don't see any other questions coming in here, so if that's it, what we'll do is we'll end it here, and this time I promise it will be on YouTube in an hour, and not like last time when I forgot to hit the record button. So any questions or concerns that do come up after the webinar, like I said, definitely will shoot me an email, and for those that didn't hear, in the GoToMeeting chat section is my email address, kevin.rankel@solidcam.com. I know I worked with a lot of you guys here, but just, you know, let me know if you guys have any questions. See, by the way, webinar works good in flight Wi-Fi, international flight over. So Ben, one of our customers, is actually flying in an airplane, and he's watching the webinar in the airplane.
There you go.
All right, guys. Well, have a great night. Thanks again for taking your time out of your night and listening to me and trying to learn something new. Hopefully I didn't put you to sleep here. And have a great rest of the day. And like I said, if you guys have any questions, shoot me an email or give us a call on the support. And our support number, for those of you who don't know, is 866-975-1115 extension 2. And that will get you the support. All right, guys. Have a great night, and we'll see you next Wednesday night. Bye-bye.